Hidden codes in the Qur'an. Digital communication, the instantaneous message. Before we explore the internet itself, let's examine an even more specific technological prediction found in Surah An-Naml, chapter 27, verses 38 to 40. The story describes Prophet Solomon receiving a letter from the Queen of Sheba and his response to this diplomatic communication. Solomon asks his council, "Which of you can bring me her throne before they come to me in submission?" A powerful jinn responds that he could bring it before Solomon rises from his seat. But then someone described as having knowledge from the scripture says, "I will bring it to you before your glance returns to you." This phrase, "before your glance returns to you," describes a time frame of milliseconds, the time it takes for your eye to complete a single blink or glance. What's being described here is the instantaneous transportation of a complex object, a throne, across vast geographical distances in the blink of an eye. In our modern context, this sounds remarkably similar to digital data transmission. When you send a photo, video, or document across the world, you're essentially transmitting a digital representation of that object instantaneously. The physical throne becomes data, millions of pixels, measurements, textures, and details encoded into binary information that travels at light speed through fiber optic cables.
Consider video calling technology. When you see someone on your
Screen, you're receiving their visual representation in real time across potentially thousands of miles. Their image, their voice, their presence is being transmitted to you faster than your glance can return to you. We've achieved what the verse describes, bringing distant objects and people into our immediate presence through the power of instantaneous digital transmission. But there's another layer to this story. The being who accomplishes this feat is described as having knowledge from the scripture, suggesting that this capability comes from divine knowledge rather than brute force. Modern telecommunications likewise depends not on physical strength, but on profound understanding of physics, mathematics, and engineering principles. The internet itself operates on principles of packet switching, where large files are broken into small pieces, transmitted separately, and reassembled at their destination. This mirrors how Solomon's court member could deconstruct and reconstruct the throne through knowledge-based rather than strength-based methods. Artificial intelligence, the prophetic mirror. Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, tells the story of a young man who sleeps for 3 centuries and awakens to find the world completely transformed. But there's another element in this chapter that speaks to artificial intelligence. Verses 96 to 98 describe the construction of a wall by Dhul Qarnayn, a figure often identified with Alexander the Great. The description is fascinating. "Bring me sheets of iron." When he had leveled them between the 2 mountain walls, he said, "Blow with your bellows." When he had made it like fire, he said, "Bring me molten copper to pour over it." This isn't just construction. It's described as creating a barrier that thinks and responds. The wall is said to protect people from Gog and Magog, forces of chaos and destruction, by somehow identifying and preventing their passage. This sounds remarkably like modern AI security systems that can identify threats, learn from patterns, and adapt their responses. Modern AI operates on similar principles to what's described here. Machine learning algorithms process vast amounts of data, identifying patterns and making predictions. They create digital barriers that protect our information, filter our communications, and make decisions on our behalf. Like the wall in the story, AI systems operate semi-autonomously, using principles their creators established, but making independent decisions based on the data they encounter. The story suggests that this protective intelligence will function until a specific time when it will be overcome. This parallels current discussions about AI safety and the potential for artificial general intelligence to surpass human control. Quantum computing. The parallel realities. Surah Al-Kahf also contains the story of Moses and the mysterious servant, often identified as Khidr. In this narrative, Moses witnesses actions that seem contradictory and destructive, but each is later revealed to serve a greater purpose he couldn't initially perceive. The servant damages a ship, kills a young man, and repairs a wall for people who showed them no hospitality. Moses objects to each action, but the servant explains that these seemingly harmful acts prevented greater catastrophes and served higher purposes invisible to normal perception. This story perfectly illustrates the principle of quantum superposition, the idea that quantum particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. What appears destructive from one perspective. Technology foretold? 14 centuries ago, in the vast expanse of the Arabian desert, a book was revealed that would change the course of human history. The Qur'an claimed to be the final message from the divine, contained within its pages not just spiritual guidance, but what many believe to be glimpses into humanity's technological future. Today, we stand at the precipice of an age where artificial intelligence writes poetry, where quantum computers solve problems in seconds that would take classical computers millennia, and where we seriously discuss colonizing Mars. Yet some of the most advanced concepts we're only now beginning to understand may have been encoded in ancient Arabic verses, centuries before we had the knowledge to decode them. This isn't about forcing modern science into ancient texts. It's about exploring the possibility that some truths transcend time, waiting patiently for human understanding to catch up. What if the book that guided 7th century Bedouins also contains blueprints for 21st century technology? The Arabic word for verse is ayah, which literally means sign. Perhaps these aren't just spiritual signs, but technological roadmaps hidden in plain sight. As we embark on this journey, we're not seeking to prove or disprove religious beliefs, but to explore the fascinating intersection where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge science. The Internet, light through glass. Let's begin with perhaps the most intriguing technological parallel found in Surah An-Nur, chapter 24, verse 35. The verse describes divine light using a metaphor that has puzzled scholars for centuries. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The example of his light is like a niche, within which is a lamp. The lamp is within glass, the glass as if it were a brilliant star, lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil would almost glow even if untouched by fire. This description of light transmitted through glass has striking parallels to fiber optic technology, the backbone of our modern internet. Fiber optic cables use light signals, transmitted through glass fibers, to carry information at incredible speeds across vast distances. The verse mentions light that would almost glow without being touched by fire, remarkably similar to how fiber optics work. Pure light energy, traveling through glass without the need for electrical fire. But there's more. The verse describes this light as neither of the east nor of the west, suggesting something beyond geographical boundaries. The internet, powered by fiber optic networks, connects east and west, transcending all geographical limitations. Information flows seamlessly across continents, creating a global network of light-based communication that mirrors the description in this ancient verse. Space travel, the divine permission. Chapter 55, verse 33, presents what reads like both a challenge and a prophecy. O company of jinn and mankind, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, then pass. You will not pass, except with authority. This verse is remarkable for several reasons. First, it acknowledges the possibility of passing beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, essentially describing space travel. But more intriguingly, it states that such passage requires authority or permission. In the modern era, every space mission requires extensive authorization. NASA missions need congressional approval and international cooperation. Private space companies like SpaceX must obtain licenses from aviation authorities. The International Space Station operates under complex international agreements. Even amateur rocket launches require permits from government agencies. The Arabic word sultan, translated as authority, can mean governmental power, scientific knowledge, or divine permission. Perhaps this verse wasn't just describing space travel, but the bureaucratic and technological infrastructure necessary to make it possible. Atomic structure. Beyond the atom. Surah Saba, chapter 34, verse 3, contains a statement that went largely unnoticed until the 20th century. Not absent from him is an atom's weight in the heavens or on the earth, or what is smaller than that, or what is greater. The Arabic word baratin, traditionally translated as atom, literally means the smallest ant or the tiniest particle. For over a millennium, this was understood as simply meaning the smallest possible thing. But notice the crucial phrase, or what is smaller than that. When this verse was revealed, people had no concept of subatomic particles. The atom was considered the smallest unit of matter until scientists discovered electrons, protons, and neutrons. Later came quarks, leptons, and other subatomic particles. Today, we know that atoms are mostly empty space, containing particles so small they exist more as probability.